FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
We may be in what could only be described as the post-American century. That's what my colleague Fareed Zakaria talks about in his new book that's on the New York Times bestseller list, miles ahead of my book. Anyway, but on the one hand, I think there's a general feeling around the world that that's probably true. That the era that began at the end of World War II and that lasted, until the invasion of Iraq, perhaps, was in effect the American century, the real American century, and that now as we face the BRICS, that is the acronym for the rising great economies of Russia and India and China and Brazil, and the micro-BRICS that are following along after them in rapid succession, that the ways of looking at the world and the ways of organizing economies that we helped pioneer and give to the world are now free on their own without our help and without our control. And that the United States essentially spent the 20th century with allies such as Great Britain and others, fighting for the principles that created the world of the 21st century that now the United States will not be able to take advantage of. That we have given these gifts, if you will, to the world, spent our energy and our will, our own destiny to give all this to the world, and we will recede into some kind of background as we watch other things happen. I think there's some truth to that. But on the other hand, the great paradox for me as a journalist is to watch the way the rest of the world has invaded what used to be my turf. So we must be interesting for some reason that has to go somehow beyond archaeology. In 1988, when I was just beginning as a Newsweek political correspondent, I befriended a fellow named Michael Binion, who is now, I think, still the lead editorial writer for the Times of London, a marvelous guy from Eton and Cambridge, I think. And parenthetically, I always loved it, who lived down the street from me in Washington. And I always loved the fact that when his son was home on vacation from Eton, he would mow my lawn. So I really liked the idea of an Etonian, an old Etonian, mowing my lawn. He had no idea about Iowa. He had no idea what Iowa was. And I took him out there, and I sort of felt like Virgil giving him the tour of the netherworld. And there he was, sort of this wonderful Englishman kind of lost in downtown Des Moines, which I, having been there for years on many trips, felt myself something of an expert in and of. And Michael was one of the first Washington-based British correspondents who really tried to get out there and figure out what a caucus was. Nobody had any idea. Even we didn't really know what a caucus was. And that was 20 years ago. Fast forward to today, when much of the campaign trail is inhabited by, if not dominated by, reporters who are from elsewhere, who work for publications that are based elsewhere, or TV organizations that are based elsewhere, who represent a world that is fascinated by and has taken as its own a fascination with and a commitment to our presidential political campaign. It's as though our presidential campaign has become a kind of interest and even obsession of the whole world. We've invited the whole world in to participate in it, and the world has come. So that, especially with the strength of the euro and other currencies in relation to the dollar, the Japanese are everywhere with television. The British are everywhere with print and broadcast. The French, the Germans, you name it. And of course, since no qualifications are really required for journalism, other than to just show up, And since there is no union of American journalists, as indeed there should never be, in a free press and a free society, everybody is able to attend the Mike Huckabee press conference or to be dissed by Barack Obama's spin doctors or whatever. And I look at it both with admiration and a touch of envy because it's, our campaign now belongs to the world. And I think that's a marvelously good thing. And I think it's a thing to celebrate on July 4th here in the beautiful town of Aspen. We must still have something to say to the world and to give to the world, or they wouldn't all be here.